another episode of LA Commons, the show that connects Los Angeles to Los Angeles. With each segment of LA Commons, our goal is to take you to a new neighborhood and introduce you to the stories of the people that live in those neighborhoods. I'm here with my co-host, Jason Vogel.
Good to be here. And we have with us today some wonderful guests. We have Dr. Ann Dorr, who is a longtime property owner in the area and also an historic preservationist. And we have Alex Palacios, who grew up in the area, knows it like the back of his hand, and now works in the area with the Neighborhood Business Improvement District. Thanks so much for being here with us.
And the area that we're talking about is the University Exposition Park neighborhood. Defined really, I think a lot of people think of it as a southern boundary of downtown Los Angeles. It's home to some of the most significant landmarks in the city of Los Angeles, like the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, the University of Southern California, and many, many historic homes. Ann Dorr, as Jason said, is here, and she is a historic preservationist. She actually owns 10 historic homes in the area. And what on earth possessed you to buy 10 houses?
Well, it certainly didn't start out that way. Actually, the first time we bought the house, we were looking for an apartment house because we had a 1031 exchange, which meant like for like property. And my husband wanted to go into that area and, you know, for rental purposes, and I said, absolutely not. He said we could rent to students, and I said, absolutely not. And then he said, there's a house you might be interested in, and he showed me the house, and I said, I want this house. And it was it was purely impulsive.
What interested you in the neighborhood in the first place?
Well, it's kind of interesting. We had gone on tours. They have tours at Christmas time, the West Adams Heritage Association, and we had always been fascinated with old houses. We love houses, that kind of thing. And so we decided, you know, we didn't know that we were going to live there. We thought we were going to use it for investment, but we could not get financing, and that's one of the problems, is how the area is perceived. So anyway, we did finally get financing, but it said we had to live there. So that's how we happened to live there. We also bought the house next door. So that's how it started.
Some things we should say about the neighborhood that I found fascinating are the neighborhood's 54% Hispanic,
Yes.
and half of the people in the neighborhood speak Spanish as their primary language at home. The neighborhood has about 30% African American, about 12% American, and then sprinkling of others, Asian, whatever, but it's a very interesting mix. And
yes, it is. You know, also it's very highly influenced by University of Southern California, and that is increasingly so. As the university grows in its population, student housing expands into these areas too. So now you have the diversity of the University of Southern California, which includes Indians and Chinese and Korean. I mean, it's quite a neighborhood. We also have a lot of employees from University of Southern California living in the area, and University of Southern California is the largest private employer in the city of Los Angeles, which is a fact people don't often realize.
Well, and one interesting thing about that, I think, is that USC will give, and I don't know if it's a certain category of employee, but
Yes.
their employees $25,000
Absolutely.
towards the down payment of a house if they decide to move in the area. Part of their commitment to,
Yes, the neighborhood.
to improving the neighborhood.
There is a stipulation that they have to stay there. I think it's 5 to 7 years and whatever. So.
Let me give Alex a chance to just talk about what he enjoys about the neighborhood, and then we're going to come back to you and talk a little bit more about the history and see some pictures.
Oh, good.
I first got started in 1999, July 5th. I came in with the understanding that the community was to be improved. Mr. Darrell Holter gave me the opportunity to come in and make a difference. One of the things that we've seen in the last 2 years has been nothing but positive. We've had everything under control as far as homeless people are concerned. More people are moving into the community.
And you grew up in the neighborhood, right?
Yes, I used to live down 39th and Flower a couple of years ago.
And what made you come back?
It's more safe to walk around, to shop around, and better yet, to even live there. So.
And we'll talk about in the second half of the show some of the stuff that's going on to make the neighborhood safer. Now, getting back to you and the wonderful history of the area, why don't we roll some pictures that you gave us that really do illustrate that history. So ready to roll tape, you all, when we get there.
You know how?
You're looking at the Figueroa right now. And this is an example of some of the mansions that you would find on Figueroa. And there was a transportation system that went on Figueroa. It was a thoroughfare. Now, I would imagine this picture was taken probably in the 1890s. The picture you're looking at now happens to be Adams Boulevard. And Adams has an interesting history. It was considered West Los Angeles. And in about 1889, this area had a population of 3,300 people, which they bragged about. Oh, this is the original picture of our house. This is what it looked like. Our house was built by the Durfee family, Richmond Durfee, in Florence, California. It's a ranch house, and this is what we've done to it. It's now called the Pink
beautiful.
Lady.
It's gorgeous.
Yes, it is a wonderful house, and it's, I don't think it was pink then, but it kind of got to be vogue. Oh, this is a great picture. This is fun. This is Agricultural Park, where the Rose Gardens are, and Exposition Park was once the largest gambling area in Los Angeles. And that's my great-great-grandfather was original in purchasing that land, and my great-grandfather was the director. It had the longest bar in Los Angeles, and houses of prostitution encircled it. This is the corner of Figueroa and Adams, and this is one of the great mansions.
Great. Give us a little, I mean, that whole story about your family is fascinating. Give us a little snapshot of that.
Well, real briefly, I really didn't know a lot about my family history. I knew they had come early into Los Angeles and they had settled near the San Gabriel Valley. We had moved away during the time that the neighborhood has gone through transitions, as Alex was referring to. And after the riots, it got very dangerous and whatever, and we couldn't sell the property. We were going to sell our house and move back to Pacific Palisades, which we did. And when we came back, someone contacted me who was doing history of my family because of some, actually from Caltrans in the 710 freeway was going through some of their land. So anyway, he said, you know, your family moved away and then they came back from Los Angeles and they lived in the West Adams area. And I said, well, but that's where I live. I had no idea. And they lived on the corner of Adams and Figueroa where the Automobile Club is. And they lived there in 1887. And in 1889, my grandmother and her sister went to USC when there was 47 students in the College of Letter, Arts, and Science.
Amazing.
Well, it's hard to find somebody who's born in LA.
Exactly.
Alex, you've had quite an interesting experience with the neighborhood as well growing up there. Can you tell us what it was like growing up in the neighborhood and what it's like now and the changes that you've seen over the years?
As far as recalling the past, I mean, I've lived there maybe when I was between the ages of 10 and 15, but what I could remember is the fact that it's very dangerous. I mean, you had things out of control. I mean, yes, you have Southwest Division Police Department, and yes, back then USC had their public safety, not as strong as today's, but now you see more public safety out there. They've done an excellent job in the community, and they're one of 3 people that help us out in maintaining a safe environment throughout the Figueroa corridor.
So LAPD, USC, and
State Police are outstanding as well.
Okay.
Southwest Division, unfortunately, is limited to certain areas in our corridor. So that leaves State Police and USC to help us out, and they've done a remarkable job in helping us out.
Enough that in 1996, when we moved back to get our house back out of the hands of someone to evict them, we decided to stay there. The neighborhood had changed. It was safe. It was a great place. And that's when we decided to commit to living down there. And we decided to run our business, you know, our bed and breakfast and our event business. And we also decided to start purchasing houses that were, we usually buy distressed properties. The last house we bought hadn't been lived in for 30 years. And we're busy restoring them. We try to bring them back to what they were, and then we rent them to students or to the community. We have some rented by local community people as well.
Great, excellent. What do you think has led to the decrease in crime?
Communication. I think that one of the things that we have been able to establish as far as the Figueroa Corridor Ambassador Program is having an open communication with residents living in the area. That has been a plus for us. And as well as having communication, once again, with law enforcement. That, with a combination of loving what you're doing, has made it much, much better to work and better yet to visit, such a thing.
I would say commitment, too. I think communication is part of it, and I think the commitment of individuals. It has amazed me to find the, you know, on the part of the mayor, the police department, you know, the new chief of police has, they have really moved into that area. They've studied it very successfully. We've been able to work with a partnership with the University of Southern California, which I think Alex mentioned, which has been a really important tie-in. But we have no problems. I think our area is one of the safest areas in the city right now. I heard that fact that it was, a study was done. And we have people from all over who stay at our bed and breakfast. They're always very nervous because they've heard about the area, but nothing, it's very safe. It's very safe. And they're families mostly that live in the area.
So for people who would come to the area to visit, what would they see if they came to, besides the historic houses and USC, what are some of the other attractions?
Well, a lot of people come because of the shrine, of course. You know, they see the shrine on television with the Academy Awards and all of that. And then, of course, the convention center. The county museum, historical museum is fabulous. Right. And the science center cannot be surpassed. There's a lot of history in that area. The armory, the rose gardens, all in that whole corridor along Exposition. People are continually surprised that this exists in our city.
We're going to take a break, okay. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about the renaissance of the area, this wonderful historic area, and what's being done to bring it back to its full historic grandeur. And we'll be right back.
What if your family lived in a home on an island you couldn't leave? With limited amounts of food and safe drinking water. It would be very important to make things last, wouldn't it? Especially if your family kept growing and growing and growing. Well, it doesn't matter where your home is, because we all live on an island we can't leave. So please, use only what you need, because supplies truly are limited. We can do that.
Respond, 10-year-old male, difficulty breathing.
No one worried when he coughed a lot at night, when he kept missing school, when he couldn't run without wheezing.
You're gonna have to breathe for him, ma'am.
This child has asthma. If not properly treated, asthma can kill. Get the facts. Call 1-800-LUNG-USA, because when you can't breathe, nothing else matters.
Welcome back to LA Commons, where we're talking to people who work and live in the University Exposition Park neighborhood. With us in this second segment, we have Alex Cervantes, who's a member of the Clean Team, part of the Figueroa Corridor Partnership's effort to clean up the neighborhood. We have Gilberto Cetina, who is a vendor at the Mercado La Paloma, one of the newest economic development ventures in the area. And we have Daryl Holter, who is the chair of the Figueroa Corridor Partnership, one of the organizations that's been very active in developing the area.
This area is really one of the most interesting for business. It's home of some of LA's biggest landmarks that are well known. Of course, the Coliseum, home to the Olympics twice. A whole string of automobile dealerships and other restaurants which service the university community and others, as well as a lot of nonprofits such as the Orthopedic Hospital and, of course, the University of Southern California and other higher educational institutions as well. So it's a very, very interesting mix of business. And in fact, the local businesses have banded together to tax themselves. That's right. They've imposed additional taxes on themselves to bring back the area, to bring a renaissance in the area, to provide security, and also ambassadors to help visitors to the area. We'll talk about that.
We had the opportunity to go to the neighborhood a couple weeks ago and film, and we are going to see that film right now, and that will talk more about what's happening in the area. Several years ago, Orthopedic Hospital was on the verge of leaving its home near Adams and Flower because the neighborhood was in decline. Instead, orthopedics leaders decided to partner with other local businesses and nonprofit organizations to bring the University Exposition Park area back to its historic grandeur. Members of the Figueroa Corridor Partnership assess themselves yearly to raise $500,000 to pay for community improvement services like regular cleanup and maintenance and community safety patrols. The Clean Team maintains the streets for the partnership and successfully employs people who may have difficulty gaining employment elsewhere.
It's like they gave me the opportunity. It's like, here's the work, just get out there and do it. So I just been out there, doing it, and it's paying off.
Alex Cervantes supervises Clean Team activities for the Figueroa Partnership.
I take pride in my work. If my guys are out there working, they make me shine. And when I shine, they shine. So it's kind of a team effort. And when we all shine, people notice. That's what makes us shine, because we go out there and we give it 110% every day.
Complementing the efforts of the Figueroa Corridor Partnership is the Mercado La Paloma. Developed by Esperanza Community Housing to provide an outlet for goods and services and to foster economic development in the area, the Mercado gives local merchants an opportunity to establish themselves in a beautiful and welcoming setting. Daryl, our last guest talked glowingly about the changes that have occurred in the area, and I know you've played a significant role in that. Can you give us just a sense of how you got the Figueroa Corridor Partnership started and what the efforts have consisted of since then?
I think the people that have businesses and other organizations in the Figueroa Corridor understood that about 5 years ago that we had serious problems. We had a lot of places were boarded up. A lot of businesses had left. There were a lot of problems with homeless people. There were a lot of problems with crime and graffiti, gang activity, and other things. And I think that there was a consensus that something had to be done, that the old formulas really weren't going to work. And the old formulas were like, get the money from the federal government, get the money from the city, wait for the economy to turn around, or finally, escape to the suburbs. We didn't like any of those options, and we decided we would do it ourselves. So what we did is we started the improvement district. We got all the property owners and businesses together. We agreed on what we wanted to do to make the place clean and safe, and we taxed ourselves $500,000 a year to provide funding, to provide services above and beyond what we get from the city. So Alex working with the Clean Team and the other Alex working with the community ambassadors provide the maintenance and the security that enhance the area. And effectively, we took a situation which was negative and turned it around. As you go down the corridor now, you'll see that it's clean, it's safe, businesses are back, employing more people than ever before, employing people from the community, providing jobs. This is all part of the whole of the whole development of the area.
Alex, you're an important part of this this renaissance, if I may use that word again, of the area. Can you talk some about your experience being a part of what's the wonderful changes that are going on?
The wonderful changes that are going on are due in part to the ambassadors and ourselves, the clean team. We go out there as a team every day and we assist people, we clean the areas. Before, it was an area that was very dirty and really nobody wanted to come and visit. So what we did is we're from Chrysalis, which is a nonprofit organization that helped underprivileged people get on their feet. And they've given myself the opportunity and my workers to really go out and prove something. So this is like our baby. We went out there and we babied it, and now if you drive through the area, you can really notice the difference from the time that it was before.
And Daryl, what are you finding the challenges are? We've seen a lot of progress over the past 5 years. What are you still facing, and where do you go from here?
Well, there are still other needs that we have. We think that the area, for example, could use some more restaurants besides the fast food restaurants. I know when we take surveys, that always comes up as something that people would like to see. We've done a lot to try to deal with traffic issues. We've worked with the city and the DOT to do a $3.5 million street improvement program, which is in place. We put in about 100 new trees and did a lot of other things. So there's really an ongoing set of activities. But what we wanted to do is make it a good place to invest, a good place to have your business, a good place to visit. And I think we could do better with bringing in more people who come in from out of town or from out of the downtown area and coming into the corridor. And I think we'll do that we're going to do some historic walking tours, and we're going to do some of the Angels Walk. We're going to try to extend down Figueroa. All that, I think, will enhance the area and open it up to a lot more people.
Right. Now, this is a very unusual business improvement district in that half of the members are nonprofit institutions. We mentioned the orthopedic hospital and the universities. How do you form a coalition of business leaders, nonprofits, and also the residents of the community?
Well, this was an interesting process that we went through. I mean, first of all, to go around to the property owners and the businesses and tell them that what we're going to do is raise their taxes, wasn't really very popular. But it was an educational process. And what we found was that we had a situation where we talked about that I was with the Museum of Natural History. Their study showed them that if the current attendance figures held, that in the year 2001 they may as well close the place because no one was going to go there. I told them that at Felix Chevrolet we had a letter from General Motors that said because crime was too high in the area that we should close it and move to the suburbs, sitting on my desk. And it convinced us that we were in the same boat. We had the same situation. And so that kind of consensus was built around the table from all the different members, whether they're large or small, because they're assessed based on how big they are. They pay more assessment. And we built a consensus around what we wanted to do, a management plan, clean and safe, and after that, go on to other things.
Gilberto, we need to bring you into this conversation.
Yes.
And you are part of a very interesting project called the Mercado La Paloma, started by Esperanza Community Housing, one of the nonprofits in the area. This is a complement to the Figueroa Corridor Partnership, not a formal part of it, but really focused on the same goal, developing the area economically. Talk about your family's business and how you got involved in that project and what you see how you see it helping you and the community.
Well, this is a family-owned business, as all businesses in the Mercado La Paloma. This is a very good project. It was a warehouse which Esperanza turned into the Mercado La Paloma. And the whole idea is to turn the Mercado La Paloma into a gathering point for the community. We've been wanting to put a business for many years, our family, and we have never had the chance until Esperanza Community Housing lended us the facilities to embark on this project. We are very proud of it. We know it's lots of work, but we also know that it's for a good cause. It's not only a business, but it's supporting Esperanza, and it's creating employment in the whole area that the Mercado is around.
And it opened fairly recently, right? Just February or March of this year?
Yes, it's recent, 2 or 3 months.
And how have things been going since the opening?
Well, they've been going good. We can't complain. They've been going a little bit better than we expected.
Oh, really?
And we know it's just a short time that the Mercado has been in operation, and we are confident, and we feel that when people start to realize that the Mercado is there, and that they can go to the Mercado and have a Latin experience of how a Latino Mercado really is, and take their families or drop in for lunch, you know. It's something different. It's something that this area doesn't really have, and I think it's a good improvement. It's a good step.
It sounds like this area has a lot to offer tourists, and I'd like to know, what are the plans to really reach out more toward tourists, to bring people into Mercado La Paloma, the other features? How is this being promoted?
We and the Figueroa Corridor partnership has on our website, you can click on to a historic walking tour, which people can use. But also we're working with the city to develop to extend the Angels Walk, which is a very interesting walk right now in downtown Los Angeles, with kiosks at historic places and information about them. And we're planning to extend that entire thing all the way down the 2 miles, all the way from downtown, all the way down the Figueroa Corridor to Exposition Park. And that will be one thing that will allow people who come in, who maybe are in town for the weekend or whatever, to come into the Figueroa Corridor and to experience some of the things there.
Wonderful. Well, we've come to another end of the show, and I have to say, even though this area has, you know, this fabulous built infrastructure, it's the people, like the people that were on the show today, that really make the area attractive. So I want to encourage you out there in TV land to visit the neighborhood, because I can attest that there's really a lot to see there. And so for my guest, Alex Cervantes, thank you very much. Gilberto Cetina from the Mercado La Paloma, thank you very much. And Daryl Holter, who is the chair of the Figueroa Corridor Partnership and doing a wonderful job. I want to thank you, and my host Jason Vogel as well, for being part of our show today.